Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Suni. I'm the maker behind ippeun here on YouTube, also available on Instagram and Ravelry with the same username. We are on to episode 4. So it is a little bit sooner than I was initially planning to make this because two main reasons. The first is that I have made a lot of progress on a lot of different things over the past week or so, 2 weeks since I last posted. And another thing is that this upcoming weekend, which may actually be the day that I'm uploading this, we'll see when I get around to editing, but it will be my first time at a fiber festival. There is a local one going on this Saturday, as of when I'm filming this. Initially, I was not planning on buying any yarn. Decided I'm probably going to buy something. Hopefully it won't be too much, because income is little at the moment. And also I do anticipate making a lot of progress from now until next week as well, so to prevent it from being a 2-hour long video, I decided to break it up and I'm posting a little bit early, so here you go. And you also may have noticed, looking around, we've got a different setup. It's nice beside, nice wall, blank space, and then it wasn't intentional, but you can see a little bit of my knitting craft yarn bookshelf over here, which is basically where I put everything related to my crafty stuff. Before we go into the actual knitting contents, really quick, I'm going to go over my measurements one more time, and I'll also put the picture here again. I know it's a little janky looking, bear with it. So, my height is 5'2", or 158 centimeters, bust about 33 inches or 84 centimeters, waist 30 inches, 76 centimeters, hips 37.5 inches, 95 centimeters, shoulders 16 inches, 41 centimeters, torso length 15 inches, 38 centimeters, arm length 20.5 inches or 52 centimeters, bicep circumference 10.5 inches, 26 centimeters, wrist circumference 6 inches, 14 centimeters. My shoe size is a US size 7 or UK 5 or EU 38. I think that's everything that I need to cover. So we'll get into the actual content. Today I am wearing my zipper sweater by Petite Knit. This is something I made earlier this year, I think. So I knit the size medium, which is technically, I think according to my measurements, I should be making a size small. But this still feels, I don't know, this feels like a good size for me, so I'm not sure. So I used Plymouth Galway worsted. I think I had to size down a needle in order to get gauge. And this pattern has 9 sizes, so ranging from extra small to 5XL. For bust sizes of 80 centimeters or 31.5 inches to 150 centimeters or 59 inches. And the finished garment provides a bust size of 116 centimeters or 45.75 inches up to 180 centimeters or 70.75 inches. And the pattern does recommend that you pick a size that gives you around 35 centimeters or 13.75 inches of positive ease. So I don't think I got that positive ease, even though I sized up a size. Again, even though I got gauge, I'm really not sure what went wrong. It doesn't matter. I really like it. I like how it turned out. Because I talked about this as a recently finished object in I think the very first podcast episode. The collar part, it ended up kind of small. I don't know. I had to really excessively block it. I think technically I blocked it twice to make sure it was a decent width and it wouldn't strangle me when I have it zipped up. I'm not sure why that is, especially considering that I sized up technically. I don't know, but regardless, I am really happy with it. And the yarn that I used is a 100% non-superwash wool. It's not super soft. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it especially if you are sensitive to wool right next to your skin, but if you're planning on wearing it as a complete outerwear layer, then I think it'd be fine. And I also will note though, that this is my 4th time wearing this? Maybe 5th? Now this is getting cooler. It actually, I do think it is getting softer. Maybe I'm also just hyping up in my head to be really rough and itchy, and then when I put it on, it's not that bad. Or maybe it is actually getting softer. I'm not sure. If you've used this yarn before, let me know. But I do know it is a characteristic of 100% non-superwash wool yarns to get softer as you wear them, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually the case and not just my mind playing tricks on me. And now onto finished objects. I feel like each thing I'm working on is makes me more excited than the next one, with some occasional exceptions, I guess. I will go over the thing I finished yesterday, and technically we've done all the ends today. It's not my magnum opus, but I really want to call it my magnum opus. But these, over here so you can see, are the I was supposed to look up how to pronounce this. Kuutar socks, I think, by Nordlund. This was a test knit. My first time test knitting for her. Very interesting to see because she's made I don't know, however many designs by this point, so many, and I don't know, just kind of getting a little inside peek into the process of what goes on before she releases an official pattern is kind of interesting. I always like to see like when different designers, when I'm testing for them, how they all do things differently, whether it's like the actual test process itself or literally just how they write the patterns and how they organize it and how they deliver it to the testers, ask for feedback, all that stuff. I don't know, it's really cool. There are 3 sizes, 1, 2, and 3, and I believe the first 2 sizes, 1 and 2, is the same stitch count, but the only thing different is the type of yarn you use. So it's either like a light sock weight or just a regular sock weight, I think. Don't quote me on that. But so I knit the first size, and I used Cascade Heritage Sock in the 5743 Passion Flower colorway. I used it, I believe, as an accent color for my heart socks. Also another mention to a finished piece I talked about in the first podcast episode. So the funny thing is, it's not that funny. I believe I knit the first sock in 7 or 9 days, maybe? Total, not necessarily saying I worked the full day, but just 7 or 9 days of working on it. I finished it, I think, blocked it and everything on Sunday. The deadline was the day I'm filming this, the 19th. Somehow I got into my head, hey, how about you finish the second sock before the deadline too? Even though the test only requires 1 finished sock, can't you do both? I could, by spending many, many hours. So I finished the second sock in 2 days. Technically 3, but the first day I just cast it on and did 5 rows of ribbing, so I'm not really sure if that counts. I'm not gonna lie, trying to knit up a whole sock, and it's a decent length, it's not like an ankle length sock, and with a not too bad but somewhat complex lace pattern, it was a struggle. I was starting to hate it a little bit because I just want it to be done and my progress is so slow. I don't think I'm a extraordinarily slow knitter. I think I'm about average. This was tough, but got it done and I'm so happy with it. I was able to block the second one overnight and put it kind of by my air filter fan thing, so that sucked the moisture away. I was able to weave in the end for that one also today. I love them so much, but it was just like, it was hard to get through and finish the second sock. But I am very happy I did because, sorry, I'm going in a very big tangent. I hope you don't mind. But after I finished the first sock on Sunday, in my head I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it'd be great if I could wear these socks to the Fiber Festival on Saturday. I was like, oh, 7 days or 6 days, is that enough to finish it? I hope so. I'll slowly work on it while I work on other things as well. No, I finished the second sock in 2 days. So I will definitely have it ready to wear for the Fiber Festival. In the meantime, I can work on everything else that I put off while I was working on that sock. But that is all for the Kuutar socks by Sari Nordlund. Again, I'd highly recommend the pattern. It's so pretty, and there is a pullover, hat, or beret, and I think a cardigan is in the works with the same lace motif, and it's super, super pretty. The test knitters get 1 pattern from Sari Nordlund for free after completing the test knit. So I'm thinking I kind of want to get the sweater, or the pullover, with the matching lace motif because I think then it would be like a cute matching set. I don't know. We'll see. Right now that's what I'm leaning towards, and I can't really decide on anything else. So I might just go with that because it makes the decision a lot easier. And next recently finished object is something I had, like 3 rows of, not even that, maybe, last episode. And it looks a little strange because there's a lot of like I-cord strap. It really does look weird. Okay, but this is the Wrap Me Up top by Phoebe, who is Mocha Sheep Designs over on Instagram. So it's like a halter top. So this is really long I-cord. You tie it back here and then, yeah, let me see it. Oh, it's falling. This is little like eyelet detail under the bust section, and then just a strap that you can wrap around and tie. I actually did the strap for around the waist a little bit shorter than recommended, so it doesn't tie in the back. It ties in the front instead, so I have 1 tie in the back, 1 tie in the front. I like it a little bit better, and also I was scared about running out of yarn, so I did not have that much yarn left over. I played a very successful game of Yarn Chicken, so I'm glad I made that modification. And another thing to note is that all the knit stitches are knit twisted. This was unintentional on the designer's part, but it does actually help for style and design of the top. It's not really my style per se. There's a lot of elements to this top that make it something that is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but it is really pretty, it is really cool, and I would like to try and wear it, but it is definitely way too cold for that now. So for the pattern, there are 10 sizes, 1 through 10, and it provides a finished garment size of 30 inches or 76 centimeters up to 59 inches or 150 centimeters. And like I mentioned in the last episode, if you're smaller than a size 1, it should still fit. It's generally advisable to size up. And I knit the size 2 using Along avec Anna's double merino in the royal colorway. So that is all for finished objects. Now on to works in progress. We've got another sock. Not much done yet, but I forgot to mention the kuutar socks are top down. These are also cuff down, obviously. And this is the Hawkins socks, which is designed by Sarah, who is Denim and Rain Fibers over on Instagram. And this is a test knit as well. I believe it's inspired by Stranger Things, hence the name and the kind of like, is it bad to say vintage or retro style of these socks. They're in a ippeun weight, which makes it knit up very quick, which is very nice, especially compared to the fine weight for the kuutar socks. It's very nice. There are 4 sizes, 1 through 4. I think I'm knitting the first one. And I'm using Mia Naturally Soft Aran, and the main color is 227 Cloud Gray. The black is 200 or Slate, and then this green blue. If you've seen the other episodes, you might recognize it. It is the unraveled yarn I got from a thrifted sweater. So it is a cotton linen blend. I want to say 55-45 cotton linen, but I lost the tag, so I'm just really trying to remember, and my memory is very bad. But it definitely is cotton linen, I know that much. I think I made it a little bit shorter than technically the pattern wrote out, which you're allowed to do. You're allowed to adjust for your like length, foot length, all that. And I also had to decrease the gusset a little bit to make it fit, because otherwise it would have gone way past under my ankle, and that would not fit. So these were on hold. I made a lot of progress, and then they went on hold while I worked on the kuutar socks. Next up is another project that was on hold, and I think will be on hold for a decent while. It looks quite strange because the cable I'm using is a bit small for the circumference of the actual project itself, so it's very squished up. But it is the beginnings of a sycamore sweater by Petite Knit. The cable length that would be appropriate for this is on another project. So this is what I've got. And I am making it in a size small. There are 7 sizes, extra small to 3XL, which is made to fit a bust measurement of 80 centimeters or 30.5 inches up to 130 centimeters or 51.25 inches, and it provides a finished garment of 99 centimeters, 39 inches, or 146 centimeters or 57.5 inches. And it is supposed to provide a 15 centimeters or 6 inch of positive ease. So this time I'm actually going along with my Petite Knit size I'm supposed to, so size small. We'll see how it goes. If it's not oversized, I will be a little bummed out. It is what it is. So I'm knitting it with Drops Floor in the White Fog colorway, which, if you're familiar with Drops, you'll be like, what? That is so thin for a, worsted Aran weight project? I think it's worsted. You're right, so I had to hold a triple in order to get gauge. And I think I sized down a needle technically, 4.5. I think they recommend 5 to, get gauge. And it does actually provide a fabric that I do like. I'm not sure how well it shows up, but it's not too dense, but it's also not too lightweight. It's just really nice. I don't know have I held things double? I don't think so. I think the most I've done is hold a yarn with a mohair. Does that count as double? I'm not sure. But this is my first time definitely holding anything triple. What's interesting is that the individual stitches on the needle, you can tell the distinct 3 strands. Like, you can tell that it's not just like one worsted weight yarn. But then when you actually look at when it becomes knitted up, you can't really see the distinct 3 strands. And I think it also helps that they are all in the same dye lot and, the same color as well. But I just thought it was really interesting. So it really kind of just transformed into a worsted weight yarn just next to each other. Also maybe the fact that they're all, I believe, 100% wool, or 65% wool, 35% alpaca, but I think non-superwash. I think that also helps them kind of like blend and stick together. So I really like it, and I'm looking forward to it. And for the little, stripey sections, I am planning for that to use pre-ordered yarn I mentioned in the last episode from Coast to Coast Yarn Co., which is The worsted weight I got from them is the Enemies to Lovers colorway, I believe. I'm not sure when that's going to come. It's probably going to be a little bit, and because of that, this is on hold. Because I think I'm at the section where you start doing the Japanese short rows in the main color, and I did not feel motivated to start that yet, especially because there's no test deadline or any other deadline. So it's going to be on hold for however long I want it to be. We'll see. Although I really would like to wear it in the winter. And then final work in progress. I don't know if it counts as casting on because it's crochet, but it's something I started today and I'm very excited about. So it is a pattern called the Santa Baby Shrug, and it is by Anne, who is iwillcrochet over on Instagram. And it is a made to measure pattern, which is nice. First of all, before actually I get into the me making it, I need to say this pattern. This is my first time test knitting a crochet pattern, or just actually doing any crochet pattern that isn't like free and maybe like a YouTube tutorial, honestly. So it is the most beautiful pattern I've ever seen. Words cannot describe the like shock and awe that filled my body when I first opened up the pattern. I mean, it's beautiful. First of all, it's got this like little border that's very festive, I guess, kind of going on with the name. There are all these pictures. I love when things have pictures. And so it shows you for each step what it should look like. It's beautiful. It's super in-depth. If patterns can get a little confusing for you, especially with like the words, or maybe you don't know what like it should look like, or you get a little confused about any of that, I highly recommend this pattern. And I haven't tried other patterns by this designer, but I would assume then also other patterns from this designer. I could talk about it forever and not do it justice. I love it so much. I'm very excited to keep knitting it up, or crocheting it up. And another thing I will say is that it's I want to say bolero. I'm pretty sure it's bolero. So it's technically called a shrug. I don't know what the difference between a shrug and bolero is, I'm just realizing. I'm crocheting it with Brighton Beach in the Golden Star Shell colorway. When I was figuring out what yarn to use, I didn't actually have any of the weight that the pattern called for, and I was initially planning on getting actually yarn from Michael's, but then when I went there, the yarns that I was looking at and I was hoping to get, they didn't have enough in any of the colors and any of the different products I was looking at to make the entire piece, which is a bummer. So I went to my local yarn shop, which I had also looked at what yarns they had, and they had this yarn, the Brighton Beach yarn. The main thing that's calling out to me was because there's this one colorway called Moon Jelly, which is so cute. The Moon Jelly one was mainly like red and blue and purple kind of base, and I really want that one because, first of all, the name, but also the colors are very cute. But they only had one of those, and I needed at least 3, I'm guessing, for my size. I asked my sister for advice on which color to pick then of the ones that were there, and she helped me pick this one, which is definitely not a color that I think I would typically go for. And even looking at it, I was kind of like, I think you're wrong for picking this one. But I got it anyways, and I actually really like it. There's like, I don't know how many different colors, blue, green, pink, yellow, and then like whatever else mixed in with it, and in between. Here's what I have so far. Wow, it's so colorful. Oh, it's so nice. It shows up so well. So you can see there's like little portions where, oh, can you see actually? Yeah, a little better. It's like more red here, a little bit yellow there, and like stuff like that. It's so cool. The yarn said it was a, what is it? Sport weight. Feels a little bit like fingering to me. It's a little thin. I know there's some parts where it's like there's like this other thing plied with it, I think. I don't know the term, sorry, I'm not really into spinning or yarn fiber analysis. There's something mixed in that does make it thicker, but that's pretty inconsistently done throughout. So those parts I could see it being definitely sport weight, but the rest of it, when it's just like the 1-2 yarns put together usually, it feels more like fingering. Maybe even a light fingering. Regardless, I still really like it. I was initially planning, when I saw the pattern, that I would love to make it in a black, inspired by another Stray Kids member wearing something similar. But I couldn't find any in black, and then this yarn was only available in different, like, kind of multicolored colors. So, got this, and I'm very happy with it so far, actually. So that is all for works in progress. I have not yet started the gift knitting, which I definitely need to get onto. I'm telling myself, as soon as I'm more settled with all my test knits, I'm working on gifts. I have to. I need to get started. Time is ticking. Clock is ticking, time is running. Does that make sense? Regardless, I'm running out of time. Slowly but surely. So I will try to get a lot of progress on my test knits and then start to really focus on gift knitting. I know I mentioned what yarn I was specifically looking for gift knits last episode. I might change my mind. I might just go with the vibe and the flow and see what ends up happening, and making things accordingly with whatever I have. Acquisitions was only just the Brighton Beach yarn from my local yarn store, so that is all. It was a little bit of a heavy finished and works in progress episode, although not too bad on time actually. We're doing pretty well, so that is great. I do imagine actually with editing it might be either under half an hour or very close to exactly half an hour, which is nice because I was starting to really go up in time length with these past 3 episodes. So it's nice to not be dragging on too much, although I am certain I am still rambling. I will link everything that I mentioned down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to either comment it or DM me on Instagram. My DM's are always open. I'm always happy to talk. I don't want to get into a whole tangent, ramble, sort of hop on my soapbox thing for what I mentioned last episode at the beginning about size inclusivity and trying to be more conscious of that as a creator, and as I'm sharing my stuff with you, my stance has not changed. It's this and some other issues about like being, I guess, conscious of the environment and stuff like that. I don't view it as a political thing. I know it technically is attributed with that, and that's how it's kind of framed and the narrative around it is described as. I don't think it's being political. I think it's just being empathetic and kind towards other people. I'm not going to say much more about it because, again, I don't want to get into it. This is not the video for that. If you would like to have more of a conversation about it, I'm open to, as long as you're being, not mean about it. Again, this is an open, safe space for everyone, living as a minority in almost every definition that someone could be described as a minority. I'm very aware of the consequences of exclusion and how it can make people feel. I don't want to do that, and if there's anything I can do better, I'd love to hear what you have to say, any recommendations or anything like that. I want to do better. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening to my little many tangents about many different things. I hope you found something enjoyable about this, and I will see you maybe next week. Yes, thank you for watching. Bye bye.